Hello, and welcome to episode 76 of the Book Wars Pod. I'm Kate, and I'm here with Kristen, and today we are wrapping up Thrawn Alliances by Timothy Zahn, which we were supposed to record this, before we left for Mexico, and then that didn't happen, so now we're, post-Mexico, and, I spent a week on the beach. I can't read, so...
The episode's not late, is it, though?
Huh? No, the episode
we
itself
recorded the other one early.
Yeah, no, the episode itself is not late. We were just supposed to, pre-record it, while we were close to the reading, and then we were like, no.
No, we won't. No, I don't want to do 2 episodes in one night. No, it's going to make us all crazy.
Yes.
Which is correct.
Yes, it is.
I stand by that decision.
No, absolutely. And it was Burb's birthday, too.
Yeah, it was.
Which, honestly, we should announce at the top here.
Yeah.
If you haven't heard the news, because you're not on Twitter, which is fine, don't go on Twitter, it's a hell site. But Real Baby Bird, Miranda is going to be joining us as our 4th host, which we're very, very excited about, especially because Kristen's only a little bit extremely dying at work, and he's getting reshipped off to Denmark for hashtag reasons. So, Miranda will be joining us for our next book, which will be Leia, Princess of Alderaan by Claudia Gray, and we are very fucking excited.
We'll give you those details at the end so that you have to listen to the end, or you have to fast forward to the end, which is annoying. Either way, we want to annoy you and trap you here.
Yeah, you could listen to the end, or you could be a dick. It's entirely up to you.
Chris, what are you making a weird face at right now?
Because... Okay, so we've got an insurance EOB on the table in front of us, which isn't relevant, except for the fact that the document number, somebody just fucking, put an elbow down on the 9 key, because the document number is literally 12 nines in a row.
That's too many 9s.
That's a lot.
Someone fucked that up.
That's really funny.
That's hysterical, actually. Look at that shit.
Oh my god.
That is... Hang on.
Chris.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. That is 29s in a row. This document number is 29s in a row. What are you doing, Care First?
Dad.
Yeah.
Just compelling audio from you, as always.
The people knew what they were getting into when they turned on this podcast
true.
at this point.
I'm gonna make Kate put a tablecloth down from now on over everything you have on the table so that you don't have anything to get distracted by.
He needs a fidget spinner, I swear to God.
I know.
Anyway,
I'm gonna
fucking
send you a fidget spinner.
God, actually, could you? Because that would be very helpful.
I can. Yes. I forgot mine. It's at work right now because I was gonna go to work and then I didn't forever. But that's fine. I'll be fine.
Real. Chris is also on his second day of his new place of employment, which he's apparently not allowed to talk about. So he's just gonna say he's on the second day of his new place of employment.
Confidential boy.
I'm not allowed to talk about it. Doing the same stuff I was before. I just would prefer not to. I don't know. Not really anything to say.
Not really have your whole life on the internet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's allowed.
I don't understand.
I know.
Currently
me and Kate
have 98% of my life on the internet, so we're gonna try and bring that down to 96.
Does not compute. Must tell everyone everything, or else how do I know I'm alive?
I mean, how are people gonna know when you need to pee in the middle of the episode, Kristen?
I know, it's so true.
Oh my God.
Okay, speaking of needing to pee in the middle of the episode, what are you guys drinking?
I thought you were going to say that you had to pee. And I was going to be like, Kristen, we just fucking started.
No.
I'm in trouble for reading off 29s.
Chris, you didn't even do it right. You didn't even read off every single 9. Don't do it. Don't do it.
No 9s at this time. I want to know what you guys are drinking.
Don't do it. So
are you drinking tequila?
Yes, we are having tequila. We are having a tequila blanco from Mexico because we were just there on a Cedar family vacation, which was a fucking adventure. That's all I'm gonna say because my mother-in-law listens to this podcast apparently.
Oh my God, why?
I know,
right?
It makes her
Mom.
happy, and I was like, it makes you happy that I tell you.
Now I can be one of those annoying people on Jeopardy that like waves and says hi, Mom, to the
Hi,
camera.
ma'am.
Oh my god. No,
Oh,
well,
really
like,
high though. Now I feel bad, even though
I
I don't
know.
know you. Sorry.
I know. She's like, it makes me happy to hear your voices. I was like, my voice is just
Oh
telling
my
your son to go
God.
fuck himself on a weekly basis.
I don't
probably.
understand how she finds it like I understand she likes hearing voices, but does she like literally not listen to the words? Because like we're not interesting if you don't read the books, and we're barely interesting. If
We're
you do
barely
read the
interested
books.
if you like Star Wars.
Yeah.
know.
Like none of those things are true for her. Anyway, whatever. When she gets to this episode in like 3 months, we can ask her. I'm sure.
Oh
we're
my
gonna text
God.
about it.
No, I'm sure she's gonna. No, she's absolutely gonna email us and have like she has this emoji she sends, which is just, like,
Bird face.
It's bird face.
What is
gonna
bird
send us
face?
bird face.
Yeah, we'll put it on Twitter.
It's a smiley face with like what is I think supposed to be a nose, but it ends up looking like a bird.
yeah. So
We'll ask Danny if he thinks it's a bird.
okay.
Great.
So you know how like make merp face, which is just like colon and then the pointy brackets.
Yes.
She does the bracket the opposite way and then includes a closed parentheses.
Is that okay?
It's bird face.
It's bird face.
Okay. That emoji has a beak.
Yeah.
Bird
That's
face.
what we're
That's
saying.
a beak. That's a beak emoji. Yes.
It is.
Correct.
That's exactly what it is. It's actually a beak emoticon, technically.
Oh, true. Yeah. It's not a beak
God.
emoji. You're right.
I hate you so much. Anyway, so we're having tequila from Mexico.
Yes, it is from La Fortaleza Distillery.
Sorry for pronunciation. None of us know Spanish.
Yeah,
That was horrible.
yeah, my accent.
Yo no hablo
My accent's actually better,
español.
but I don't want to do it right now. So,
Wow. Okay.
and it's their
Lazy
tequila
white man.
blanco. It's their tequila blanco Los Abuelos, which apparently you can get in the United States, sold just not under the Los Abuelos label, but just called Fortaleza Blanco.
Eh,
It's very good.
more you fucking know.
Yeah. So we did this tequila tasting. Shout out to Vallarta Tequila Tastings.
Yes, they were wonderful.
If you're ever in Puerto Vallarta, you should do that tequila tasting because it's amazing. And we learned a ridiculous amount
yeah, they were
about
awesome.
agave and about tequila and about mezcal.
It was It was this adorable husband and wife team, which was fantastic. Because like she like was just sitting on the side like on her phone, like not impolitely. She was like not part of the conversation, but she was like on her phone while he like went on his spiel, and she like did.
Yeah,
all the
she was very clearly the business manager to
Yeah.
his like
expert-
showman and expert.
Yeah, exactly.
To his
Um,
not business manager.
Well,
I
'cause
just
he
would
was-
like to
well,
give
'cause
out
he was
a
talking
shout
the whole
out
time.
to all
He had like
tequila
he
tastings.
brought a map of Mexico with like
Ooh.
different kinds of like what different kinds of agave grow where.
Yes.
He brought an iPad with like thousands of pictures of the mezcal and tequila making processes respectively.
It was crazy.
It was a whole thing. It was wild.
It was fantastic. And it was super fun, and we got really, really drunk.
Yeah, that was that. That
Um,
was
we were-
the last night we were there, and that next morning wasn't the best.
Yeah, we were very lucky that Chris's parents bankrolled the whole thing because it was his dad's like retirement trip, and he decided to bring all of us along, which he was very kind to do.
No, I
and-
didn't know that. Tell him I said congratulations.
Aw, we
Thank
will.
you.
He's like retired like a year ago or whatever the fuck, right, Chris? But
Yeah,
Okay,
it just
but-
took a while for it.
Okay,
to organize
everything
this.
to happen. But yeah, and Chris's brother set up the tequila tasting, so that was nice of them. But
I found the tequila tasting.
yeah, I said he set it up.
Okay. Well, because never mind.
What, Chris? What?
It's fine.
Anyway, we went through this whole saga right before the episode. We were trying to find the right glasses for it because apparently, if one is actually drinking good tequila, you are supposed to drink it out of like a snifter or a champagne flute because it needs to aerate.
Yes, if you're drinking sipping quality tequila, which, much like pretty much any other liquor, really the only reason you're mixing it with stuff is because it's shitty.
Yeah.
So, like, if you don't drink shitty tequila, there's no reason to mix it with stuff.
So anyway, which is all to say, we are being douchebags right now, drinking nice tequila out of champagne flutes, and we are loving life.
You're not douchebags. You get to do whatever you want.
Yeah.
It's great. It's, like, citrusy, but, like, it's got, like, a little, like, almost saltiness to it, like, almost like olives. It's great.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's kind of like that gin I got in Galway with the brine.
Yeah, it's a little
Oh.
briny.
No.
Cool.
It's really good. It's
It's
really
good.
good.
Kristen,
That
what are you
sounds-
having?
That sounds delicious. I'm gonna have one beer
All
or
right.
2 beers. The beer that I'm starting with, however, is by 10 Barrel. They're out of Bend, Oregon. And they have a brewery / brew pub right across the street from my office.
Oh my
that
God,
opened
amazing.
like 3 years ago, maybe. Anyway, it's rather new. It's one of the few rooftop patios in Portland because it's very hard to like get that properly zoned and approved to serve alcohol on here. So it's always poppin'. But I believe the head brewer there is a woman named Whitney. And they brew different stuff at the different locations that they do. So I'm drinking the Pearl IPA. So the neighborhood I work in is called the Pearl, and it's called the Pearl IPA. And it says it's the very first beer Whitney brewed at our Portland pub. She wanted it to have an aggressive hop profile showcasing huge tropical and pine notes, a clean and snappy bitterness, and a malt profile that is pale and bright. Cheers to Whitney's first 10 Barrel brew.
Aw.
And this was a while ago, but they just started, everybody loves it so much that they just started canning it. So that's why I was able to buy it. Yeah, it's real tasty. And then I have like a video game beer that I might have if I want to have another one, and I'll take a picture of that so we can put it on the gram because nerds.
Yay. Awesome.
This one's cute too. It has like a picture of our streetcar on it and things like that. So it's very Portland centric.
I legitimately had no idea you had a streetcar.
Yeah, the reason you
think
don't
I
know
do.
we have a streetcar is because like the only reason to take the streetcar is if it's pouring rain, otherwise walking is faster. Because like the issue with all streetcars,
Yes.
it has to sit in traffic, and it's
Yes.
what's the fucking point?
Yes.
There
Sits
is
in traffic and at this traffic lights, and god
Yes.
damn it.
streetlights make me so mad, or streetcars make me so mad.
We're not going on your streetcar rant. This is fine. Anyway, thanks for listening to
They
Alcohol
almost
Pod.
they almost
Goodbye.
never make sense. They almost
Chris-
never
Chris,
make
no.
I
sense.
know.
Chris, no.
I know. I just said
Chris-
that, Chris. It's okay.
Chris.
We're all in agreement. Everybody hates streetcars, okay? It's
Anakin,
okay.
no. Anakin, no. Ooh,
Anakin,
speaking
no.
of
Chris,
Anakin,
yes.
One more story from Mexico before I actually get started on the pod. Chris broke his phone, which was brand new and he just got for Christmas, with sand, because that bitch was waterproof, and he went and he left it in his pocket by accident when he went to the ocean, and it was fine after being in the ocean, and then he got sand all up in the charging port and all this other crazy shit, and then tried to get it cleaned out at an actual like cell phone store in Mexico, and that didn't work, and then it died.
No, this is an embellishment of what happened.
No, it's not. It's literally what happened.
No, I think what happened is
Sand
because
killed
some
your
of the
phone.
salt water got in, and even though the water didn't kill it in the first place, the salt, like once I was actually able to charge it, the salt, like the charger hit the salt and killed it.
Sand killed your phone.
Is salt not a type of sand?
Sand killed your
It's
phone.
not.
Sand killed
Literally
your phone.
not.
It's part of sand, though. It is mixed into sand.
In the sense that we are all molecular sand. Like I don't understand. I don't understand
Sand,
what you're
sand
No.
killed
saying.
your phone.
Yeah, like
Sand killed your
salt.
phone.
I know what I'm saying.
Okay.
Anyone
well,
else
good. I'm
knows
glad
what
one
I'm
of
saying?
us does.
Tweet at us.
She's saying
saying-
sand killed your phone.
Yes,
Oh my God.
I am saying sand killed your phone, number one. Number two, I'm saying that if you're on a beach and it's salt water, like I'm assuming that when the water dries out of the sand from high tide, some salt remains behind because that's how evaporation works.
Yeah, not
That
giant
is
ass
correct.
salt crystals.
Yeah,
I'm
but should-
not understanding.
It's sand.
Not understanding.
Keeks,
Sand.
you understand what I'm saying.
Anyway, my
Sand.
phone died.
Sand.
Now I got a new phone. Everything's fine now. How are you?
Sand.
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 Okay.
And this is
Let's
God, my mom's really
speak-
confused about this whole sand business.
sand.
She has no idea what's happening right now.
Also, if anybody ever wants to know what we do in the podcast Slack all day,
It's literally just this. It's literally just this.
Yeah, it is. This is we have brought it outside of the Slack into the podcast for some reason.
Yeah.
some
reason.
the-
Anyway.
the Tashi Station Patreon Slack, wonderful. Good conversation. Very nice people. Diverse topics of conversation. The Slack that's just the three of us, or now the four of us, now that we're adding Miranda, literally just this shit.
It's this. And then
I'm-
me and Kate have a literal room by ourselves so we can talk about poop.
Yep, it's called the poop room.
Yep, no one's allowed in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. And then we have another room that's an off-topic room, but it's not the poop room.
Yes, correct.
Oh yeah, that's the one that I have. Wait,
That one's extra screaming.
Yes. Okay. Sorry. I'm in that one. The poop room I have like hardcore muted.
Yes.
Yeah, for good
Correct.
reason.
Because literally I went in one day and I was like, what do you actually talk about? No, literally you just talk about poop.
Anyway, now that we're 15 minutes into Poop Pod, let's
Yeah,
talk.
God, it really we really like made up for lost time. Like I feel like we talked about poop not at all in like the first, 70 episodes of this podcast, and like the
That
last
seems unlikely,
5.
I'm going to be honest with you.
Well, at least not to this extent. And like the last 5, we've mentioned it like every other word.
Oh my god. Or anyway,
I started my new job on my first day by telling everybody in a staff meeting. I was asked a fun fact about myself, and I told them, or my boss told them about this. I told my boss about this podcast.
Chris.
So there's like a 2% chance at least one person whom I currently work with is listening to the pod.
I said off-topic time is over. We're talking about the book now.
This entire podcast is off-topic time.
So let's talk about Vader and Thrawn and Anakin's in parentheses leadership styles, because we alluded to this on the last episode. Just so you know, there's no editing cut there. I just went right for it.
Yeah, no.
This is ridiculous.
No, that was literally just Kate cutting me off.
Because shut up. So if your whole office can know that your wife just dunks on you 24/7.
I mean, they were going to find out one way or another.
They don't. How do they not already know?
And it's
Accurate.
been 2 days. Honestly, they should know.
Anyway, we were talking a little bit last time about how, Thrawn is this, like, lovely, nurturing boss who wants to teach his, underlings applicable skills. Like, he doesn't even think of them as underlings. Like, he just, like, he wants to, like, teach them things for the improvement of their careers. Like, legitimately exactly the kind of boss you would want. Like, he's forgiving when they make honest mistakes. Like, he's, like, he's always looking out for people. Whereas Vader is just like, oh, you looked at me, guess I'll force choke you to death.
Yeah, Thrawn's like the kind of nervous where you want to impress your boss, like where you're like, like me exactly right now, where I just started a new job and I like want to make a good impression. I want to do my best, like that kind of nervous. Vader's the kind of nervous where you like fear shit yourself.
Yeah, because he's gonna kill you.
Yeah, they'll just you.
He's
I mean, you work under him. Like it's like getting cancer. You live long enough, you're gonna get cancer. You work under Vader long enough, you're gonna die.
And it's hilarious because Kamen like knows that.
Yeah, he does. He's like very resigned to his fate, which is like weird. So like just to get into it, like people who did read the book remember, like when we first meet Commander Kimmend, who is the commander of the First Legion.
Yes, people who did read the book. Why would they be listening to the? Well, I guess your mom's listening.
Yeah,
That's fine.
Okay, my bad. Hi.
Well,
Hi,
some people might not read every single book. Anyway,
Yeah, that's right.
He's the commander of the segment of the 501st that is with Vader on this mission.
Mm-hmm.
And he says with like kind of black humor, he's like, Kimmend is the 4th commander of the First Legion in the past year.
I know, and there's at one point where he fucks up and he's like, guess they're about to get a 5th one because I'ma die.
Yeah.
Which he doesn't miraculously.
Yeah,
TBH.
shockingly.
I was stunned when he didn't die at the end of this book.
Yeah. It almost feels like Thrawn like interceded for him at some point.
Yeah, or something. Like somebody pulled some strings because that man should by all rights be soups dead.
Yeah. But like the weird thing is he's fine with it. Like he is, and that's the thing. Like with Vader's leadership style, it is very, and I'm going to stick purely in universe because my knowledge of out of universe military leadership is nil. But in universe, the stormtroopers love Vader because he is this invincible badass.
For the glory of the Empire.
For the glory of the Empire. Like, he is the height of the propaganda machine. If you believe in the Empire, then Vader is everything. If you believe in, like, fighting for the Empire, Vader is everything you could have ever dreamed for and more. And so the stormtroopers love him. Like, they follow him into battle. Like, literally, he just, like, force lifts them up through a hole in the ceiling and, like, throws them into battle, and they're fine with it because then they're, like, they get to see the Vader show when he comes up.
Totally. It's like having, like, this, he has this kind of sick, tyrannical charisma, you know? Like, why do people, like, blindly follow horrible leaders? Like,
yeah, he is the charismatic dictator, except without the charisma.
Yep. And, I mean, honestly, his being powerful is kind of its own draw, like you said. He doesn't need charisma.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something that like we see. Trying to think what other books we've read that include him to this point. We haven't really read a ton because he's not in many of the novels, but in some of the Marvel comics, you'll see kind of that devotion to Vader, and you certainly see it in the movies where, like, you know, there's so much deference to Lord Vader and all this. But like we were saying, everybody else who is not a stormtrooper is either utterly terrified and does not have any other opinions besides fear, or they hate him. Like, they think he gets in the way of things. They think he's terrifying, and that makes people do worse work. Like,
They
Pharaoh,
think he's spooky with his weird, like, beliefs.
like, Pharaoh is like, there's this hilarious moment where she is like thinking to herself, God, is he just like sleeping behind that mask? And then like remembers that he can like allegedly read minds. It's just like, fuck. Like,
So good.
it's like, it's
so
like
funny.
everybody hates him who is not a trooper.
Right. Keeks, you sound like you want to say something.
Oh no. I mean, I was just like, of course, of course, all of the troopers love him because they're like, yeah, although like he is kind of their antithesis, he's like, he has this really big identity that he carries around, whereas they are like meant to be like nameless, faceless. He's still like, he's on par with them, right? Because he's like in armor all the time.
Great fucking point.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like he also like I feel like Vader does not give a shit enough about stormtroopers to kill them.
Oh, I think he would kill plenty just for the fun of it.
Same, but I think he's more like they are going into battle with him, and I think that like puts them on like a different plane than like the rest of the people. Like, they're going into hand-to-hand combat with him. Do we see any other non-stormtroopers go into hand-to-hand combat with Vader?
I mean, not
At
hand to
any
hand,
point?
potentially pilots.
Well, sure. Yeah, I mean, yeah. And they're armored and kind of anonymous
Yeah, very
in that
expendable.
same right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah,
Alright,
I don't know.
TIE
I just
fighters
feel like
expendable?
Shut up.
yeah. I feel like he just like kind of treats them more as like a tool and a commodity
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
than
absolutely.
anything else.
Yeah, I mean, that's such a great point. I'm just like, because I want to like peel my face off because it's so good because we also wanted to talk a little bit about, you know, the difference between Vader and Anakin, and, you know, you saying how like nameless and faceless they all are. It's the complete opposite of how it was during the Clone Wars, when all the clones were like, you know, we all have names. We're not just numbers. And Anakin knew every single one of them. And Anakin himself was basically, I mean, he was a war hero. He was the face of the old Republic during the Clone Wars. And that's such an interesting counterpoint that you point out there between Vader and, you know, the Jedi.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and they were like, in a lot of ways, they were encouraged. The clone troopers were encouraged to have names, right, and bond with their, you know, teammates, whatever, squad mates, and just not the same as stormtroopers now.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I mean, I think kind of digging into that point that you and Kate just started of like Anakin's leadership style, like, you know, I kind of joked Vader doesn't have charisma because he's, you know, a plastic suit, but like Anakin was like, Anakin's literal entire personality is courage and charisma.
Oh God, yeah.
Like, as we see in this book, he doesn't really do strategy. Like, he doesn't really do a ton of advanced plan. Like, he's fine. He can hold his own. But, like...
Yeah, but, like, we
you
know,
like...
from this book and also from the Clone Wars cartoon, like, his men love him because he's ballsy.
Yeah. Like,
because he's ridiculous.
Because he's ridiculous, and he is, like, in front of all of them when the fighting starts.
Mm-hmm.
And, like... And that is something that he and Vader, of course, have in common.
Mm-hmm.
That, like, both of them enjoy fighting, and in Vader's case, enjoys the killing.
Fuck yeah, definitely.
But Anakin, it's all charisma and courage and that camaraderie. Like, man, alliteration. But like, it's all of those positive aspects that are then twisted into Vader when it becomes fear and, you know, camaraderie, but from more of a like bloodlust angle. And
I mean, it's getting ahead, and it's hatred of the other side.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not about reuniting the Republic.
Exactly. And then, of course, on the other hand,
hi, Pork Chop.
Hi, Pork Chop. I love you.
We have a new official, third official ham of the pod. His name is Pork Chop.
Yes.
He's a large boy.
Yes, we'll be posting pictures. Don't worry.
If you give us coffee.
Damn. Okay, we haven't posted pictures yet.
I know. We owe people some.
More details to follow. Anyway.
But Thrawn, it's almost like as we were saying before, it's almost the opposite, because Kimmond himself says, like, man, if there are more commanders like Thrawn, like, Empire could live forever. Like, because he grooms his people, he takes the time to get to know them, he takes the time to work with them. Like, he brings, Eli out of fucking obscurity in the first Thrawn book. Pharaoh,
shipping label hoe,
kind of sounds somewhat similar. I mean, I don't think that level of obscurity gets up to Commodore that often, so, like, she probably came from somewhere, but, like, she is very clearly, like, learning, and she is learning and evolving, like, as this book goes on. And so, like, he grooms his people for command. Mm-hmm. And, like, Kimmond really respects that, and it's like, man, if only, like, we had more commanders or more admirals who weren't interested in politics and just wanted to get the job done.
Kimmond himself, man, if only I were like that. Meh.
Yeah.
Exactly, right?
More like Kimmond is like, man, what an admiral. But he's blue.
Oh my god.
What a fucking asshole.
I know, it's so racist. To your point, Chris, about how, you know, who Anakin is to the clones who fight under him. We talked, like, many episodes ago, I don't even remember what the fuck book we were talking about how Anakin was chosen by Palpatine not only because he's the chosen one, because he's so strong, but because he's this paragon of power. Like, he's this, like, perfect-looking white man who is, like, super powerful, super charismatic, and all that, and then is transformed into this, like, you know, Vader would probably call himself a monster. And so
the Emperor certainly does.
Yeah, he does.
I think this was back in one of our very early episodes when we were talking about the Darth Vader comics.
Yeah, that sounds right. We no longer read the Marvel comics. See previous episodes for why. They're
the worst.
Yeah.
Continue.
That was kind of my point. Honestly, just to, like, loop that back in. Like, it's just kind of interesting to think about how much. I mean, obviously he's gone through a whole lot of trauma. And, you know, body trauma is not something to, like, make light of, but just, like, how attached to his appearance he was, like, how, like, or rather how much his goodness, I guess, is attached to what he looks like, which is its own problem because that's super ableist, but, you know, that's what Star Wars is doing here. Yeah.
It's, I mean, that opens up several branching discussions, which I wish, I mean, we certainly can get into them, but that's like, we could do 3 podcasts on that sentence you said right there.
Sure. But I mean, I feel like we're gonna get into this more when we do Lords of the Sith.
Yeah, we are. But just to get back to kind of like what you were, like what brought you onto that point. Like, I think you're exactly right, and like I'm on the side, just, you know, for a little less nerdy reading. I've been reading the Silmarillion, which is for those who don't know, essentially the mythology of Lord of the Rings. It's like the history of what happened before Lord of the Rings, written as like myth, like a telling of myth. And it's great. It's better than Lord of the Rings, which I don't even think is that hot a take. But
I hate Lord of the Rings, guys. That's my hot take.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Let's just have 7 pages about trees. Just
yes.
Like really
this is better. The writing of this is better than Lord of the Rings.
I will clarify. I love the idea of Lord of the Rings. I love the movies. I can't read the books to save my life because again, 7 pages about goddamn trees.
The movies are better than the books. Anyway,
I liked the.
What brought me to this?
Yes, me too.
What brought me to this is that the kind of foundational story of Middle Earth is your classic creation of perfection that was then corrupted story. And, like, that's very much, we don't see that reflected a ton in Star Wars except with Anakin and with Vader. Mm-hmm. Like, because he was the chosen one. Like, Ewan McGregor said it best. And he not only fell, but fell in such a way that he destroyed the world. And that narrative and that development for him is, I think, what is so compelling about him. And we see it kind of in spades here in this direct contrast between Anakin and Vader that we don't really see in any other medium.
It's, yeah.
Or in any, like, forget medium. I don't think we see it in any other instance, this side-by-side contrast, except maybe a couple times in Clone Wars? Maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, or maybe a little bit in Rebels when Ahsoka's
Yeah,
talking about him and things like that.
When Ahsoka's talking about him, and like specifically in Twilight of the Apprentice.
Oh God,
that
yeah, absolutely.
Heart-wrenching scene.
Oh Jesus.
So, but like we're talking like maybe 5 minutes in the entire collected edition of everything else Star Wars on film or on screen.
Yeah.
And so like it's interesting and it's new to an extent, which is like to do something new with Vader after 40 years.
Pretty cool.
It's not nothing.
Pretty fucking cool. It's very biblical because Star Wars is never very biblical. Nothing is ever.
Nothing
is ever very biblical.
It's the greatest story ever told, Kate.
Jesus, go away.
Oh
all right.
Go eat pork chops turds. Speaking of destroying everything.
Well, speaking of like
God.
things that like happen like when shit goes wrong, like speaking of the fall, like
oh my God.
the biblical and literary fall, another thing of this book, another theme of I'm tired, y'all.
It's fine,
I
Chris.
haven't worked in 2 weeks and I worked for the past 2 days.
You're doing great.
Anyway, another theme of this book is unintended consequences and specifically collateral damage
Oh God.
that happens.
What? I don't know. I thought like super hardcore blowing up that mine was fine.
Anakin.
Yes. Chris can't even speak right now. He's just face palming so fucking hard. He's just there like.
Just like this is the thing with Anakin. Like I'm gonna go on a tangent that I like started a little bit last episode and said I would put on this outline and then didn't. Like
Tangents on this podcast? No.
in my Star Wars, I just like we need more information of as Anakin grew up. And as Anakin grew into who he was in the Clone Wars, like granted, he was amazing in the Clone Wars. He was arguably the greatest Jedi already. Except Yoda and potentially Obi-Wan.
Right. That was honestly just because they were. I feel like they were because they were older and wiser.
And potentially Mace Windu.
Right.
Like I would say those are the top 4 in whatever order you want to put them in at the time of the Clone Wars. But by the time you get to him to that point, you know who he is as a person. You know who he's an adult. He's
allegedly
22, 23, 24, maybe even 25 by this book, somewhere in that range. Like, we know who he is. Like, there is no more development to him. There's no more growth. You can hope that he'll chill out as he gets older. But, like, at the end of the day, Anakin is Anakin. And
he's certainly adult in that he's fucked.
Well, exactly. Because, like, the thing with the Jedi Council,
Sorry.
Like, we've said in the past that like they fucked this entire process up royally, like from start to finish. Like
what process? You mean training Anakin, bringing him up, or
buying into the prophecy of the chosen one,
Got it.
like sealing their own doom.
Mm-hmm.
They fucked it up from start to finish. They trained him badly.
Yep.
But at this point, he's not being trained anymore. You know who he is. If you're the Jedi Council, and it's year 3 of the Clone Wars, and you're looking at Anakin Skywalker, and you're looking at him as the Chosen One, as the greatest Jedi, what is your best case scenario for him?
Oh my
Because
God.
literally, on a good day when he is actually engaged in a mission that he cares about and rescuing the person he loves, who he's not allowed to love, because of the Jedi, but is allowed to be on this mission that's exciting and he gets to rescue his wife. He is blowing up a fucking planet.
I feel like, honestly, the best case scenario with him would be him being like, getting kicked out of the Jedi Order and then just like going and living with Padme on Naboo, like locked up in a house somewhere.
Right. No, I agree. I think that's the best case scenario for him. If you're the Jedi, though, I legitimately want to know, what was their vision for him? what was their vision for, and Anakin is going to deliver us from darkness? Like, how did you see that happening? Like, this was the Star Wars equivalent of, like, step 1, Anakin, step 2, lightsaber, step 3, I don't know, step 4, prophet.
Yes.
Fuck. I mean, you're absolutely right, of course.
Sorry, the hamster's making a lot of noise. He's a noisy hamster.
I love him.
He's very active boy.
I'm over here like this is the scene in the movie where the smart person is like, I think that may have been mistranslated. I don't think that really means what you think it means, but okay.
Literally, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's
like, how could he be the chosen one? Oh my god.
just a colossal fuck up from top to bottom,
Right.
on the part of the Jedi Order.
Right. I mean, it would have been, it would have had to be a thing where they just, like, where it reached back and they actually, like, brought him up, like, raised him differently somehow. But that's not what happened.
Right, and, like, I think it's an entirely different hypothetical discussion of, like where did they go from here?
What did they do?
Like, what were they hoping for? Like,
Yeah.
what was their actual realistic best case scenario? Like, because, like, yes, I agree. Like, at the point of the Clone Wars, he's gone. Or, like, Palpatine is won.
Chris, the best case scenario with Anakin is Anakin maybe. Anakin sometimes.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, the best case scenario with Anakin is that you turn Anakin into a weapon and you learn to direct him.
Which is exactly what happened with Vader. It's
Yeah,
exactly what happened to him.
It's funny how that works.
You took the flamethrower and you pointed it somewhere at something you wanted to die.
Yeah. And
Blah, blah, blah.
there's a larger philosophical discussion about the Jedi during the Clone Wars that I don't think we're equipped to have right now, just from this book. And I don't think enough evidence exists to have that conversation in canon currently without just like,
but Chris, why don't we
as like a bonus hypothetical like riffing episode, which we could do, but
Chris, I don't understand why we can't just like take this and just like roll it around on Twitter for like 85 years, take a really firm stance on one extreme side of the pole, and then attack everyone who disagrees with us.
Honestly, I thought you
That
were gonna
sounds
say
great.
make it an 80 tweet thread. That's what I was waiting for, but
I did not say you could do that.
I mean, if you did, it would be impossibly brave.
I agree with all of this, but I'm just gonna like it. I don't think this really leads into a larger like philosophical or psychological discussion about the Jedi.
That's fine.
But I'm like, man, so Palpy was like so fucking tuned into the Force because I feel like things were going his way and he was very much just like vibing really hard. Whereas I feel like if we think of Yoda maybe as the most powerful Force user on the side of the Jedi, I'm like, I feel like he was fucking depressed. I feel like the only thing he ever wanted to do was meditate. I feel like he was so out of touch with the Force because like war was happening all over the place and he was just like, oh my god, it is so loud in here. All these people are being dumb hoes. All I want to do is go meditate and like try to fucking make things less horrible.
Oh, absolutely. And there's if we ever get around to reading the Revenge of the Sith novelization, which came out at the time of the movie, obviously, and so it's not part of the current canon, but it's just an amazingly written book and just adds so much richness to that movie. There's actually the scene which I hate this scene, where Yoda like gets rescued by Bail Organa and he's like, into exile I must go, failed I have, out of nowhere, because you know, dropped your lightsaber, essentially.
Well, shit.
Like,
all is lost.
that's like in the movie, it just makes it's completely out of place except as a plot filler. But in the book, it's tied together really well because Yoda is like, as he's having this fight with Sidious, he goes from like this place of like, you know, not braggadocio, but like confidence of like, I am the best Jedi, I am strong enough to defeat the Emperor, I will do so, and we'll take it from there. And as he like is slowly like being fought to a standstill, he's like, how did I let this happen? Like, just like on a personal level, how did I let this happen? Like, how did I like let him develop without me knowing it? How did I let the Jedi get here? Like, and that's why his line of like failed, I like into exile I must go, failed I have, becomes much more powerful because it's not I have failed in this fight. It's all of this is my fault for not adapting and reading the world and knowing what I needed to do. And so I need to go into exile and figure my shit out. And so, like, that is, you know...
There's just the sound of pork chop running on his wheel right now.
There is, it's true. But we also heard fourth co-host, Real Baby Bird, laughing in the background, so...
Yeah, so it's fine.
I know.
But yeah, so it's really interesting that you bring that up, Keeks, because I absolutely think that's the right way to read Yoda.
Yeah, okay, good. That makes me feel better, because I'm like, God, I feel like Yoda was just so sad forever. And I'm like, that makes sense that, like, I feel like if Yoda was tuned in and, like, I don't know what the circumstances would have had to be, because, like, everything's always it's called Star Wars because everything's always on fucking fire, but
Someone tell Mon Mothma?
yeah, someone tell Mon Mothma it's called Star Wars, not Star Peace, thanks. But I'm like, it's crazy to me, like, and it makes me sad that Palpatine was able to, like, sense the beings being trafficked, and, like, the whole Jedi Council has no fucking idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Assumedly.
Yeah. I mean, to your point about what might be going through Yoda's mind, it's probably not so much, like, depression-like symptoms for me, but, like, this sense of complacency, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
Which...
Sorry, I didn't mean to bring this down even further, but
no,
it's
totally.
called Star Wars.
We're talking about Anakin Skywalker, you're fine.
Right.
You're, like, on exactly the right level.
But yeah, also, like...
The saddest worm of them all.
Just two things I'm excited for in the coming months. I really hope we get more of the Jedi Council in Master and Apprentice by Claudia Gray, which comes out in April. Because Claudia Gray, who is a genius, but also because I want more of this, like, how did the Jedi get here?
God, yes.
And then, of course, getting some contrast to how they were in the Old Republic, which we don't have in the current canon, but that's a different topic.
I'm excited for Obi-Teen.
Well, I know. Shocking.
Obi-Teen.
Wait, I'm sorry. I'm not familiar, Kate.
Obi-Teen.
Oh my god. But also, the other thing I'm excited for is Thrawn Treason, because as those who follow Del Rey Star Wars on Twitter or
Anywhere.
our friend of the pod, Tom at Darth and Turnus, as you know, that book is, as much as this one was Thrawn and Vader, that one is Thrawn and Palpatine.
And Krennic.
And Krennic.
Yay!
It's
Sorry.
My favorite disaster buy.
Now I'm just thinking of Hamilton, like, and Peggy, just like Krennic, just doing that, walking behind them the entire time.
And Krennic.
That's his life. Anyway.
It literally, that is his entire point.
Palpatine said we couldn't do this. Well, Palpatine's not here, motherfucker.
But, like, it's very clear that Palpatine is playing chess while everybody else is playing, like, tic-tac-toe.
Yes.
And, like, so I'm very interested to see how that dynamic plays out. And also, we have almost no canon Palpatine, like, information. We're going to get a little bit in Empire's End when we read it. There's some in Lords of the Sith, because he's a main character of that. There's, like, a chapter or two in Tarkin. But we have very little Palpatine in canon.
That's so interesting.
And so,
Wait,
like,
Chris.
we don't know anything about him.
Chris. Is he Snoke?
I'm quitting the pod.
Yes! Anyway, moving right along.
Yeah, sorry, we just took, like, a 20-minute detour on something that was not on the outline.
That's fine.
That never happens.
No.
Also, we can break this into two if we want, by the way, because I feel like we have, like, 2 episodes worth of shit here in that it goes onto 2 pages.
Does it really? Oh, shit.
Yes.
We'll see.
The last half is, like...
Nothing.
Okay, that's
Rapid
fine.
fire.
I'm
So
just...
we'll see.
I always
We'll
like
see.
to bring it up because
Oh, sure.
I never like to edit out any of our content because it's actually not bad.
Well,
That is-
It is bad, but
Chris
Once
is
you
bad.
start listening, it's a relative
Oh my god.
term. Anyway, unintended consequences. So, obviously, Mokeev gets fucked. Mokeev gets blown to hell.
Jesus.
The first
Christ.
of many planets that Anakin will destroy. But we also get the plight of the peasants. It's kind of seen through the eyes of Lebjow. Is that how we're saying his name?
I'm saying it Lebjow, but Darth and Turnus is he's the associate editor at Del Rey, and he's pretty good at letting us know if we did well or not. So Tom, if it's not Lebjow, hit us up in the Slack and we'll fix it.
Yeah.
I believe if I'm remembering from the audiobook correctly, it is Lebjow.
Okay,
Oh,
great.
fuck yes.
Hey, look at that inside source.
Woo!
The inside source called I listened to a few chapters of the audiobook.
Yes, that is the exact source. But we see it through Lebjow's eyes, where like, A, he's fucked from the get-go for helping them get out of the factory. Because like, as much as we see this as the evil separatists and the evil Count Dooku and his plot, like, he's just like, hey man,
It's
like,
a job.
we work here.
It's a job.
We
I know.
do this for a living.
Right, yeah, and I was just like, oh my god. Like, I mean, they're definitely gonna, like, what is it called? Like, Delta Bay Zero or whatever the fuck, the hell out of them, but...
I'm not... Go on. I
That-
don't know their
that shit where they, like, completely, like, destroy a planet after they're done strip mining it because they don't want anything to get out about what they're doing.
Oh, was that a thing from
Rebels.
Rebels?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Good memory.
I know.
I have to rewatch Rebels.
You have to watch Resistance, bro.
I know
As
I have to
well.
rewatch.
Oh,
I know I have to
Resistance.
watch Resistance. I assume it's not available in Denmark. I did mean to check today. I did Google it.
I mean, if you can get on
But-
Disney now.
I'm aware, Chris. I just don't know whether or not that you can do that in Denmark. I assume not because I could not get ESPN Plus, and
Even on a
ESPN is a Disney. No, not on a VPN.
Oh.
I do not. I can't stream shit on my work computer. So
Well, yeah, that's why.
Yes. Great. Good talk,
Good
everyone.
talk. Everyone's happy with it.
Anyway.
But, so anyway, yeah, like, we see his life get fucked over where he has to leave the planet. He has to leave the planet anyway because he'll get lynched if he goes back, essentially.
Right, and then it gets blown to hell anyway, so now he super can't go back.
Yeah. And, like,
And-
meanwhile, these peasants are like, well, we woke up this morning and everything's on fire.
Right. Like, this is literally all they know about. This was a job that they had to feed their families. It's gone now.
Themselves, yes.
Yeah.
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 And it's just
they
like-
they just be trying to fish so that they can not die.
Yeah.
And it's really war in a nutshell, kind of. Like, it's... And we don't really get a huge view of this in the Star Wars books. We do get some of it in the Aftermath series through the interludes and through the first book.
We've seen it in, like, various places, but we've never seen, like... I don't think we've ever seen it from necessarily... We've seen it from the view of, like, normal people, but we've never seen it necessarily from the view of people who we would commonly think of as the enemy, who are also just normal people trying to do, like, normal fucking shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is a very specific niche, I realize, but also important because, you know, there are people who work in these horrible chemical weapons factories, I assume, who it's a job to them because they don't know anything. Like, all they know is, like, they go home and their kids are hungry.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it's, you know, very much a commentary on war, which, again, Star Wars, look into the political overtones in A New Hope for more on that, but also on specifically the Clone War and how devastating it is to both sides, with the heroes on both sides and the villains on both sides. Like, if you remember the very beginning of the book, when they meet the bartender who was Lebjow, has now changed his name to, like, Nodla, I think. Nodlia, thank you. And Thrawn's like, I think you remember me, because, like, how many other blue people come in here? And then he's like, oh, you. And he, like, kind of looks around and is like, where's that other asshole?
It's just so
And
good.
Thrawn's like, he died. And Lebjow's like, good. Like, he still remembers what Anakin did.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and, like, that's, like, you know, a Tuesday for Anakin is, you know, the next 20-odd years of these people's lives.
Ugh.
I know.
The War Machine.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, speaking of the War Machine, we see that on the Chiss versus the Grisk side as well.
Yeah.
What with these kids getting caught in the crossfire just because they happen to like be force sensitive.
Yeah, does not seem fun to be a force sensitive Chiss.
No, I mean honestly, it kind of never seems fun to be force sensitive because either you get like, you know, baby snatched from your parents basically, or, you know, other weird crap happens to you.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's again a certain medium that we are not discussing on this podcast actually has a few issues that do really interesting, kind of like touching on that issue of like, you know, the Jedi rescuing children who are kidnapped, and then people are like, what do you think you do? Like, what do you think it is that you do? But like, so you're right, I don't think it's ever particularly fun to be a force sensitive child, but for the Chiss especially, because, you know, from Thrawn's description of, they essentially get thrown aside one way or another when they're no longer force sensitive, and, you know, then apparently now they're tools of war. Like, they're not just tools of exploration, they're tools of war, and with all the risks that come with that.
Right, I mean, it's like trying to steal the opponent's technology or whatnot. And also, I assume that if you are having to take your ships into battle, you're gonna have to get to wherever the fuck the place is anyway, so you're literally bringing children into war zones.
Yeah.
No child soldiers in Star Wars ever. We've never seen that.
Nothing bad ever happens to children or force sensitive beings or anyone in Star Wars.
Right.
It's called Happy Peacetime.
In the stars.
Happy Peacetime in the Stars. Mon Mothma TM.
And speaking of other people who lots of bad things happen to them, this idea kind of popped into my head of, you know, Padme also, you know, she, unlike Anakin, she like fully, or maybe not fully, but she does realize, like, she's never seen it up close before, how the war is affecting real people, and she kind of feels bad about it because, you know, she knows she's using Leb Zhao, and she has to complete this mission, but also she's well aware of the fact that she's using this guy, and she kind of feels a little guilty about it. Not guilty enough to stop, but she feels guilty about it. And it just reminded me of the conversation she has with Anakin in Revenge of the Sith, where she says, you know, what if the Republic has become like everything that we're actually fighting against? And, you know, that conversation goes well. But, you know, I was just thinking about, like, now that we have this other, you know, material that comes before Revenge of the Sith, where Padme is coming to these realizations, like, I'm wondering, like, how many of the seeds of that thought are planted here, and, like, you know, is she a heroine, or is she complicit in war crimes, basically?
Hashtag complicit.
Nice.
I mean, I think... Sorry, go ahead, Keeks.
No, I mean, I was just thinking about how, especially at, like, this point in the war, it's very complicated. It's like, fuck.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. But
it's like,
she's one of the few major characters that doesn't shy away from that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm not pointing this out to, like, shit on her, like, because, like,
no.
obviously so many
totally.
worse things are happening, but, like, you know.
Like, it could just have easily been, like, chemical weapons to kill thousands of civilians in that factory, as it could have been Jedi-proof, like, you know, armor or whatever the fuck.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
like, and, you know, maybe they would not have had as good of a reason to keep the killing beings for no reason, really bad shit under wraps like they do the anti-Jedi armor. But, like, what the fuck do they know, right? It's like,
right.
I mean, I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just saying it's like, I don't think the outcome wouldn't have been any different. I think, like, if they would have figured out that it was, you know, a bunch of shit to kill civilians, they would have blown up or tried to destroy the factory all the same. But then Anakin destroyed the planet, so...
But yeah, I mean, basically, you know, we kind of talked about how the Jedi have lost their way.
Right.
And, like, got complacent. And, like...
I don't know what would make you think that, Chris.
Yeah. The theme of the Republic, it feels like, is the ends justify the means by the end of the war. Sure. And we've seen, like, there's tons of evidence for that. Yeah. From Revenge of the Sith to Clone Wars.
So let's use this mysterious clone army.
Yeah, to use the magical hot dog. But like it's essentially all in the name of keeping the Republic together.
Right.
And Padme is really only major character to this point. Obviously, we know that Bail and Mon Mothma are there in the background. You know, we have Satine on the neutral side. We have what's her name?
Mina Bonteri.
Thank you, Mina Bonteri. Thank you for knowing who I was talking about.
Boom!
From
Marriage.
her. I mean, there's only like 5 female characters in Star Wars anyway, but
All of them have brown hair.
all of them have brown hair. Anyway, Mina Bonteri on the Separatist side, like, so it's not only her, but she's the only major character to this point in the timeline who is not really on board with that. And she's never really been on board with that, because if you look back at Phantom Menace, all her advisors are like, steer her on Coruscant, you'll be safe, you'll be better able to take this on when you're not dead. And she's like, no, like, that's not acceptable to me. Like, control of Naboo is not the point. People not being dead is the point. And this is not accomplishing that. Therefore, it is not worth it to me. And like, we see that when she's, what is she, 13 or something? 14. In that, we see it 13, 14 years later, right now, where she's starting to not be on board with this concept of the ends justify the means, and being extremely uncomfortable with the means that they used to achieve these ends that didn't even end up that great. And then we see kind of the culmination of that in Revenge of the Sith, with her questioning the war, and in the deleted scenes, which that whole travesty of eliminating her character,
Yeah.
but of the group of 2000, the delegation of 2000, her organizing the senators, her with Bail and Mon Mothma, to oppose the war, because they're like, it's at what cost?
Right, exactly. Like, she is the only character who realizes that she has blood on her hands.
Yes.
Like, the only main character we ever get out of this era, really, who fully recognizes how many lives this war has cost.
I'm trying to think what other era that we could compare to her.
I feel like Yoda gets it, but does Yoda not count?
I don't know that he does, though, because he's like all up there in his literal ivory tower.
That's true. He is just very sad.
I'm like trying to think of like Jesus. Do we have
Leia gets it.
Yeah. Which yeah. Surprise, surprise.
One of these things is very like the other. But yeah, really it's Finn, maybe?
At least a little bit.
Yeah.
Like in the sense that he's like Padme, he's been on the ground.
Handles it in a different way, but he has that understanding.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, nobody really questions war in Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of the name, Chris.
God Christ.
It's thank God I have you to keep reminding me, Kristen.
If only Mon Mothma had somebody.
If only Mon Mothma had Kristen.
Maybe she wouldn't have demilitarized. Anyway.
Yep. But yeah, like Padme is a very unique character in that aspect.
Yeah.
And again, to plug an upcoming book, Queen Shadow comes out in just about a month.
Yep.
Blah, blah, blah. Sorry, I'm very excited for that one.
I'm so excited. I'm glad for all this Padme material we've been getting, because like she started out as a very, very rich 3-dimensional character, and then slowly they just, good God, y'all. This is why men need to not only be the ones writing movies, for Christ's sakes. Jesus.
Would you say that George Lucas broke your heart? Went down a path you couldn't follow?
I want to talk about connections to the larger universe and completely ignore Chris. You said you were quitting the pod. Can you leave?
Yeah.
Like, can you just take pork chop and go somewhere and play
I made
with him?
cookies. I'll take my cookies and leave.
Yeah, fine. That's fine.
What kind of cookies did you make?
Lime shortbread. Thank you for asking, Kristen.
Oh, that sounds so nice. Was there lime zest involved?
There certainly was. There was 4
Yum.
limes worth of lime zest. It was a double recipe, so it made quite a bit of cookies. I might bring some to work.
It's great. We made some for.
Oh, you're bribing everyone to love you. I like it.
Absolutely,
Yes.
I am.
We sent some of these in a care package to at Space Jess one time, because she needed cookies because we love her.
Yes, everyone always needs cookies if they would like them.
Chris makes good cookies, y'all.
True.
So connections to the larger universe.
Yes.
Which are Chris's cookies now. We've got plenty of material that, intentionally or unintentionally, because, you know, it's supposed to be presented as a romance, shows Anakin and Padme's relationship to be a raging trash fire of, at best, a very mismatched couple. At worst, straight up spousal abuse.
He's a bad man.
Yeah, he is! Alright, so...
I say again, what was the best case scenario?
Yeah, fucking A.
He's a bad man.
Just throw him in the lake on Naboo, TBH, instead
What,
of
what did I write on the outline?
You wrote bad. You
I
literally
did.
wrote bad,
What do we learn about Anakin and Padme's relationship? Bad.
Yes. Like, I mean, here's yet more evidence that it was bad, but, I just wanted to, like, talk very briefly, because we've already kind of talked about it, like, just what exactly we learn here that is new information about the bad, where Padme literally should have just pushed him in front of a space potato and let him die.
Absolutely. And I mean, and remember, we're close to the end of the war, it's fair to say at this point. Like, I think we don't have an exact chronology, but from the way he talks about it, it sounds like this is very close to the end of the war. That means toward Revenge of the Sith. It's toward the arc of Clone Wars, where they're on, why can I never remember the name of the planet? Munilist, with the Benken clan, with Rush Clovis.
God Christ. Yeah, it's somewhere, I feel like somewhere, like, around season 6 of the Clone Wars. It's definitely before 7, because Ahsoka's gone and he hasn't seen her.
Yes. Oh, yes, that's our timeline marker. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
But so when Anakin goes crazy there, like, Anakin is losing control. And everyone's making excuses for that. And in this case, it's Padme. Which, again, like, not to blame her, because she is the victim here, and this is how abusive relationships work.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, he is losing control.
Mm-hmm.
And she explicitly says she is unable to talk sense to him when he is like this.
Yeah.
In reference to him blowing up the mine.
Right, which is literally what victims of domestic abuse say. Like, there's, you know, he just gets like this. It's fine.
Yeah.
Which is horrifying, the way that, you know, abusers just brainwash their victims this way.
Yeah. Anyway, other connection to the larger universe.
So that's fun.
Yeah. There's no good way to segue from that.
I know. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is, so we see that, of course, in the factory, they're making both lightsaber-proof and blaster-proof, basically, both battle droids and on the Separatist side, but also clone armor. And it just, you know, I read about that, and first of all, my brain exploded. Second of all, my imagination just started spiraling out of control about, because this had to be connected to Palpatine's plans for Order 66.
Yes.
Which is sickening. Like,
God fucking Christ.
As bad as Order 66 was, and don't get me wrong, it was a genocide. You can't get much worse than that. But, like, there were a handful of Jedi survivors. There could have been none, basically.
Remember when Smuggler's Bounty thought it was a very funny thing to send us a luggage tag that was literally the clone trooper receiving Order 66?
Yep. Yeah, it's
like
Commander
as a
Cody.
casual. Thank you. Sorry, I don't. You know, I don't. Commander Cody has a name, and his name is Commander Cody, and I have a luggage tag of him, and I can see it right here. I had to get my fucking suitcase out of storage because I have to go to fucking Denmark. But anyway,
it's on our Instagram from when we went to Ireland back in
It's
October.
A whole thing.
Yeah,
it's
he's
really
holding the
fucked
little
up.
hollow.
It's really fucked up.
It's so
Yeah.
messed up.
But yeah, and like my favorite part of that was like Anakin trying to like puzzle it together in his Anakin way, being like, "Oh my god, they could have, I don't know, done this. I don't care. Let's blow it up."
I know.
And then Thrawn, his like last words to Anakin,
Yeah.
it's like,
They're attacking. They're
like-
gonna infiltrate. Is what.
well,
he
Anakin
says.
was worried they were going to infiltrate, and Thrawn was like, "But how would they get their people there?" Like Thrawn was like, "How would they infiltrate in large enough numbers for this to matter?" And, like,
And of
Anakin's
course
like, I don't know, they do it. Who cares?
The brain control trips were
Yeah.
what Thrawn was missing.
Exactly.
Because
And, like,
who the fuck does that?
yeah, like, Thrawn was very much like, something doesn't add up here, and I recommend that you look into it because this feels important.
Anakin, yes.
But yeah, and then we get Anakin, yes, blowing up the mine.
Yep.
But yeah, again, connection, like, not a fun connection, but like those connections to
Are any of these fun connections so far?
to
The
the
last
universe
one
that
isn't
make
fun
this
either.
that make it so rich.
Yeah.
None of them are fun. All
Yeah.
of them are bad.
Yeah, here's the third and last one that I wanted to talk about, which is also a bad one. So during the book, Anakin, when he's, you know, in his fighting flow, he's remembering Attack of the Clones, where he massacred the entire village of Sand People. You know, and it's one of those instances, that was the first instance of him letting his hatred for the enemy get the best of him, and that's exactly what happens to him at the mine. He gets so single-minded, that this thing needs to fucking die. Like, just kill it and it'll be gone, and everything will be better. That he gets in that mindset Padme talks about, and you can't dissuade him.
Absolutely.
So, what does that tell us about his transformation to Vader?
I mean, I think, again, speaking about larger conversations that we could devote entire episodes to riffing on and thinking about, it kind of goes back to the question of how much of Vader was Palpatine's manipulation and how much of Vader existed. And, like, the question of, you know, how much of it was his fault, how much of it was redeemable. The moral question of Darth Vader, essentially.
Right.
And I think this book and all the evidence that we have so far is a strong argument that, like, obviously he was manipulated. Obviously the dark side of the Force is powerful and is evil and manipulative and corrupts you. But he was not whole.
No, I mean, like, and Vader himself draws this kind of arbitrary division between, you know, pre-Mustafar and post-Mustafar, and he really does mark it at his disfigurement when he has the incident. But Vader was Vader before he got burned to a crisp.
Yep.
Like, he'd been Vader when he was a pretty boy.
Yeah.
He'd been Vader
And he doesn't want to remember that.
He was a dumb fucking idiot on Mustafar.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah. You're exactly right about that. And, like, that's his dirty, like, that's his dirty little secret. That's what he's so afraid anybody will know. Because obviously, if he hadn't been disfigured, people would know that, like, who Anakin Skywalker was.
Mm-hmm.
He probably would be, like, known publicly as Anakin Skywalker. Darth Vader would probably not be a public name, but, like, he would be known as, you know, the person sitting, you know, at the right hand of the Emperor.
I mean, and the Emperor wanted him to be the face of the Empire.
Yes.
And he is, but definitely not in the way either of them wanted him to be.
Yeah. And as a result, he's terrified that anybody will figure out who he was and see what happened to him, because he has become this monster, and he, exactly as you said, he blames it on his disfigurement, but that's not the case.
Mm-hmm.
Like, his disfigurement, arguably it's the other way around.
Yeah. Yeah.
Agree.
But just as crispy as his insides.
Fucking A.
All right.
He was lava surfing. It wasn't going to end well for you.
It never
my
does.
friend.
So true.
Never does. Anyway, we are pretty heavy, but we have a few last rapid fire things.
We do. So we've got some social media stuff. The first thing I want to point out was that our lovely friend of the pod, Southern Cynic, on Twitter, pointed out to us that Star Wars Explained, another, I think mostly he does YouTube videos these days. I think he's mostly a YouTube channel. But Alex over there, he did an episode on this book back when it came out, and he talked to Tim Zahn about whether he meant for Thrawn to suggest that Thrawn may have once been Force sensitive, and Tim Thrawn said he did not. He said it wasn't something that he intended to slip in there.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So I just wanted to point that out, that she pinged that for us. Alex elaborated a little bit upon it. So if you want to hear more about that and want to hear Tim Zahn talk, to go ahead and look up Star Wars Explained on YouTube, and I'm sure you'll find that video pretty easily.
Interesting. Now I really want to know who in his life was, because clearly there was some pain there, as we talked about last episode. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
Yeah. And then we've got some social media questions, both of which are very fun. thank God, because I'm about to go lie on the floor from this conversation for this episode. The first one we have is from Josh, who is one of our wonderful Tashi Station Patreon subscribers. For the low cost of $1 a month, you have access to our Patreon Slack, where you can talk to us about all kinds of stuff. And
see corgi pictures.
There's so many corgi pictures.
Yeah, thanks, Odie.
Yeah, right. Odie's the best. Darth and Turnus is also in there dishing out really cool publishing knowledge that he doesn't necessarily like think to tweet. You know, obviously, because
also the cat interns.
Yes, he's lots of pictures of the cat turns. So anyway, well worth your money. So Josh asks, who makes a better stepdad for Anakin, Thrawn or Sheev?
I gave my answer in the Slack, and I'm gonna let other people answer first.
I don't know. I'm like, I think Thrawn is too young.
Who should his stepfather be?
I think,
or
whatever.
And recipient's choice, Keeks.
Yeah. So my answer is that I think Thrawn at this point, Thrawn's definitely daddy as fuck, like in his older age, but I think he's a little too young right now to.
Thrawn is daddy as fuck. Quote.
Pull that off. Look, I said what I said. So
That's fine. We just have a title.
And so I'm gonna go with Sheev. Kristen. Daddy Palps.
I mean, I know I make jokes about this, but I really think Thrawn, given the chance and being allowed to be around Vader more than he was, or is, or whatever the fuck, I guess was, everything's was. I'm like, he hates him now, but like, what if he could help?
Aw.
Yeah, that's a
friendship.
We know that doesn't happen, but I don't know. I value my blue boy above most people.
Yep.
And things. And he's wonderful.
I haven't looked for the Thronican fic that inevitably came out of this book. I have to.
Guarantee you it hid. My answer is, and I'm a little upset at the Patreon Slack that nobody has made this for me yet. So Heath's gonna need to get on this.
Oh Jesus!
But somebody needs to make a meme. Picture Vader, picture Thrawn, and the caption is "You versus the guy Daddy told you not to worry about."
Oh, so true.
I love it. Okay, so our second question is from a longtime friend of the pod at ShannonJoy26, who asks, Shannon, we love you. She asks, if they made this book into a film, who do you want to play Anakin and Thrawn? And Cakes, I think you need to answer first because you put this beautiful answer on the outline.
Oh, I said I want Chris to play both Anakin and Thrawn, Lindsay Lohan Parent Trap style.
That would be pretty great.
It'd be so good.
It would be extremely challenging. We would need to get some really good makeup artists. However,
it would be.
I think both of those people live inside of you, Chris.
It would be like in 30 Rock, the Tracy Jordan Thomas Jefferson movie, in which he played every role.
Oh my god!
Exactly, except for you to only play Anakin and Thrawn and probably Vader.
That's true. I don't have Tracy Jordan's range. There's no question about that. I have like no creativity because I read this question and I was like, ooh, who would I want to play Anakin? Matt Lanter or Hayden Christensen?
Oh my god.
I mean, yeah.
Those are two choice. Those are names of men who have played him in the past.
Who have played Anakin. Yes, this is correct. And since that's how I read the question, that's how I'm going to answer it. My answer is Hayden, but before George Lucas broke him and back when he was a good actor.
Oh, that poor man.
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
The prequels are kind of Hayden's fault, but they're George Lucas's fault because George Lucas can't direct.
I blame George Lucas. Also, like, Hayden could still pull it off if he still knew how to act. Like, he hasn't aged terribly.
Okay, that's true, but he did come out with that Little Italy movie last year.
Yeah, people got bills to pay, okay?
I'm not saying he shouldn't do movies. I'm saying, did you see the trailer for that film?
He's got a daughter to feed. So
yeah, Emma Roberts was in that movie too, okay? It's not just... People do shitty movies, but did you see the fucking trailer?
Oh my god.
Absolutely not. But
you should all look up the trailer
everything.
for Little Italy. I haven't actually seen it because I don't think it came to theaters near us.
I don't think it did.
It was straight to Lifetime.
Oh my god, there's one of those like viral tweets going around that was just like, who's an actor that you saw whom you love that you saw a really fucking bad movie for, and I saw somebody say Hayden Christensen in Little Italy, and I was like, God bless you, woman. It was a woman. I was like, because I could fucking not. I don't know how to answer this question because much like Keeks never knows the name of anything in Star Wars, I don't know any fucking actors' names, and can't think of anybody's face. Like, I don't know what to say. I would say that the actor who plays Thrawn would have to be able to do the Lars Mikkelsen voice.
Yeah, I was gonna say he can't put his own spin on it. He needs to be able to do the voice.
Yeah. But other than that, I've got nothing for you. I'm real sorry. I don't know anything. Let us know though, listeners, who you would pick, because you probably know more actors than I do. I also don't watch TV or go to movies ever, so I don't know who any goddamn person is.
It's ironic because you know who actually probably would have made a really good Thrawn is Paul Bettany.
I was choked. Oh my god, that would have been so great.
He probably actually would have made a really good Thrawn.
And they wasted him on Dryden Voss, who was such a boring fucking character.
Yeah, mistakes were made.
Yeah.
A lot of mistakes were made.
Alright. So, Easter eggs real quick. Before we sign off. I keep explaining this out in the first episode, but I was like fucking dying laughing at Anakin complaining about Thrawn specifically using aphorisms when every single episode of the Clone Wars starts with a shitty aphorism.
Yep.
Yes, my favorite thing.
I know.
Whenever I have time and can independently podcast and quit my job, and I do my Clone Wars pod,
yes,
just like the first 20 minutes will be devoted to the aphorism in the beginning of it.
Yep.
Yes, obviously.
And the last 20 minutes, if we're being honest.
I know.
Just most of the pod.
Yeah, I had two favorite Easter eggs. One was a super deep cut, but the fact that Thrawn's first thought when he saw those hibernation chambers on Batuu being cloning cylinders is actually a throwback to the original Thrawn trilogy, which I don't think in Legends. Yes, sorry, the original Thrawn trilogy in Legends, starting with Heir to the Empire, and I don't think it's a spoiler 20 plus years after the fact to note that the main kind of like twist of that series is that Thrawn is making clones.
That's weird.
And then my other one was Kimmond and the Stormtroopers ruining version 1.0 of Vader's "let them escape and let's track them" plan that we see him execute to perfection in A New Hope.
God damn it.
It's just, the subtlety is overwhelming with him.
God. I have a few more. One of them is Thrawn. He's looking at the knives on the Darshi, I think it is, and he compares it to Twilight Calicori, which he's real creepy about Harris, the Syndulla clan Calicori on Rebels. That's fine. I don't want to talk about how Hera got her Calicori back from Thrawn, because the events that immediately followed that never happened.
Yep.
I don't
Nothing
remember.
in Rebels ever happened.
I don't know her.
Frankly, another aspect that Paul Bettany would be really good at playing. The creepy aspect of Thrawn.
Oh, fuck yeah. Absolutely. I mean, he's super fucking creepy in Solo.
I feel bad because Paul Bettany's, like, by all accounts, just, like, the most lovely man, but he plays so many creeps.
Listen, you need to see him in A Knight's Tale, because Chris has never seen A Knight's Tale, which is a crime.
All I'm saying is Alan Rickman would have been the best Thrawn.
Oh, God, may he rest in peace.
Sorry.
You're so right.
No,
I was just thinking about that, and I was like, wow,
he
would just kick the shit out of everybody.
Yes, he would have. Oh, that would have been so good. And he got wasted on fucking eyeliner Snape.
Ugh.
Speaking of mistakes being made, just the last...
Yes.
Anyway.
There's a reference to carbonite. I think Vader wonders if the fucking hibernation chambers are carbonite freezers, which we have seen Anakin multiple times encountering people being in carbonite before he does the Han Solo, because Star Wars just loves a good throwback reference. And then the last one I have is Vader saying, obviously this book is all about mirroring in terms of, explaining character development and stuff like that, and it's really masterfully done, but Vader points out that, there's a lot the more you understand the Force, the more you see that there's symmetry in it. Why is he being called back to Mokiv and Batuu and all this other stuff? And it just reminds you of the famous George Lucas quote where, it's like poetry, it rhymes, and that's kind of like the whole thing of Star Wars. Because again, Star Wars likes a good callback. It likes it likes playing all those games narratively when it comes to mirroring and creating like very obvious opposites and things, and just to like do storytelling because it's cool like that. And Keeks, is this one of yours?
Of course it is.
Oh,
I already
God.
mentioned it, but Anakin put his lightsaber in R2-D2.
Always.
I also loved that.
Always. Him, Luke. It's a Skywalker family tradition.
I know. I love it. It's
so
my
good.
favorite thing. It's so dumb. It's the best thing. It's just like R2 has a place for it now.
I know.
Honestly, Anakin might as well have given the 2-finger salute before force throwing his lightsaber onto a roof.
I would have adored that. Throw it on a roof. How are you gonna get that thing? I'll figure it out. Jesus Christ.
That's a problem for future Anakin.
Oh, not
Put it by a floodlight. There are only like 900 floodlights, so it's fine.
Obi-Wan's gonna kill me.
And with
The
that,
best.
let's wrap it up. This has been a bit of a heavy episode, and I know that Keeks is already having an aneurysm about it.
Sand phone.
Thank you for
phone,
listening
sand
to
phone,
this
sand phone.
episode of the Book Wars Pod, and thank you for reading Thrawn Alliances with us. I love this book, as you can probably tell by the fact that I've been monopolizing the conversation for the past 5 episodes.
Shut up, white man.
Thank you to my co-hosts for allowing me to do that. But
You're not
next week we are going to continue our streak of great books by reading Leia, Princess of Alderaan by Claudia Gray.
Bay.
We have yet to read a Claudia Gray book that didn't make us want to die inside. And having read this one already, it doesn't start now.
Yep. This one's a YA, right?
Correct.
Technically speaking. So if you can't find it where you find your usual Star Wars books,
Yeah, check
Go-
the YA section.
Yeah.
go yell at your local person and be like, help me, please.
Yes.
Yeah.
Claudia Gray. I need her to melt me. My soul.
Yeah, and you're in 3 weeks' time. You can want to die with us. We're going to be reading the start of the book through chapter 14. It's the first half of the book, since YA books read a little faster. And as we said at the top, Miranda, Real Baby Bird herself, is going to be joining us as a co-host, starting with our next episode, which is the first episode of Leia, Princess of Alderaan.
Burp, burp, burp,
We're
burp.
very excited
Burp, burp.
to have Real Baby Bird joining us. This is a big get for the podcast.
Seriously.
Huge
Sorry for
booking.
laughing. I'm going to edit that out.
Oh my god, you're such an asshat.
Me? Yes, I am.
Don't you dare edit that out.
Oh my god.
Miranda's the best. She lives with me now. It's amazing. She's actually getting pizza for us right now because I'm very hungry.
There you go. Anyway, in the meantime, hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at BookWarsPod, and Tumblr, at BookWarsPod. Email us at bookwarspod@gmail.com, and rate, review, and subscribe to both us and Tashi Station Radio Megafeed. We need to pick someone who won Original Thrawn.
Oh fuck. Sorry. Hang on. Shit. I totally forgot. Hi, whoever you are. Hang on a second. I'm the fucking worst.
This is why editing is important, my friends.
You're just gonna leave all this in of me looking up the random number.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this is gold.
Oh, I
right
usually
here.
do. Yeah.
Okay. 1 through that number. And Danlin Voss. Newer but very faithful listener. Like, thanks, bro. You have just won a book, so
Yeah.
we'll bug you at some point for your address so we can mail that to you, but not be creepy.
Yeah, when this episode comes out, we'll DM you. But yeah, congratulations. You have won a paperback copy of Thrawn by Tim Zahn. If you are listening and you want to win some cool shit as well, it's very easy. All you have to do is leave us a review on iTunes. Not just a rating, has to be a review with at least one sentence or sentence fragment involved. And doesn't even need to be a good review. If you leave us a bad review, as long as it's, not, just
It can be
Insults.
5 stars and say, hate you, Chris. That's fine.
I mean, not wrong. But like, as long as when you leave a review, and if it's not evident to us who you are, just like DM us with a screenshot and be like, hey, this is me. We will add you to the giveaway list. We give away all sorts of stuff. We've given away stickers. We've given away books. As we're coming up to Star Wars Celebration, I would imagine that we're going to be giving away some more stuff. So please do rate, review, and subscribe. And donate to the Tosh Station Radio Patreon and give us coffee at ko-fi.com/bookwarspod. As Kate mentioned, I owe some pictures of pork chop on the Instagram. Those are going to be coming this week, thanks to Shannon Joy 26 and
At 6 Moments on Twitter.
At 6
Megan
Moments.
Kennedy.
Megan Kennedy. Thank you both for giving us money on coffee. We really appreciate it.
Megan's never giving us money ever.
I know.
At least I remembered Shannon's name.
God.
You know what? Anyway, that's our show. Our theme song is Whiz Bang by Poddington Bear. Our logo and artwork are by Joe Butera Design. For Kate and Kristen, I'm Chris. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Book Wars Pod, and we will talk to you next week.
Bye.
And it's you versus...
Shit!